YouTube, what's going on? My name is Argon, and you're probably thinking to yourself, I clicked on the wrong video. I'm expecting to hear Tabor Hill's beautiful, beautiful voice. Well, unfortunately, Tabor's on vacation right now. Hopefully, he's having a great old time. He's out camping somewhere in the middle of the woods. And the developers dropped a big, change to the game on us, so he asked me to help him out. I had a video in mind that I was preparing for my own channel. I said, hey, you know what? I'll give it to you. I'll upload it on your channel. He's being more than kind to let me upload on his channel, so big shout out to Tabor Hill. Thank you very much for the opportunity, my friend. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Argon. I do also make Fortnite videos on my channel. The link for that channel is down in the description below. Hopefully, you'll give me a chance to take a look at my stuff and subscribe over there. I think you will not be disappointed. But let's get into this video, guys. As you may or may not know, previously the developers tried out a new shooting test. I think they called it shooting test number 1. Basically what they wanted to do was introduce a new mechanic to the game where the first shot you shot had 100% accuracy, and then there was a regular bloom after that. In exchange for that accuracy for the first shot, they introduced a damage drop off. So this is similar to games that you've played in the past, maybe like Call of Duty, where weapons have damage profiles. Previously for Fortnite, if an AR had a 33 damage, it had infinite range at that damage. But in this shooting test, what they did was they implemented the damage profile, so there would be a drop off after a certain point, and then a certain point after that there'd be a second drop off. Didn't give too many details out on that. Now, when they first brought this tested mode in, they put it in as a limited time mode, which kind of said, you know what, we're going to be testing this. We're probably going to do another test. We just want to tweak some things, see how it goes. But they said, scrap that. We got it figured out. Let's make this a permanent change. They rolled it out today, so now everybody's kind of like, what the heck, this came out of nowhere. And there's been some reviews from people on Twitter, you know, known streamers like Ninja, Myth, or Daquan. They've been kind of concerned, making some complaints. I think I saw Avery was kind of indifferent. He didn't really care one way or the other. He wasn't too sure. So the initial reaction is not too positive, but we want to explain to you guys what exactly this is. Again, if you're not aware, basically what happens is the first shot accuracy mechanic is involving all the weapons. This includes all the weapons, which is all SMGs, all pistols, all revolvers, all hand cannons, all ARs, and burst ARs. Now, this does not include shotguns and grenade launchers. Those are not affected. Snipers, hunting rifles, scoped ARs, crossbows, and RPGs already had 100% accuracy, so those are not affected. They just always have 100% accuracy just by the way they're designed. So basically the way this works, guys, is when you're aiming and you're standing still and the weapon has not fired recently, the first shot will be 100% accurate. Now, this is accurate to the crosshairs. You still have to be able to aim, for example. So if you're aiming at somebody, it's not going to actually track that target and auto aim onto them. You still have to be able to hit them. All it just means is, for now, wherever your reticle dot is, that's where your bullet's gonna go. Similar to Call of Duty, similar to other shooters that you've probably played in the past. So it wasn't like that before. It was more like anywhere where the crosshair spread was showing, that's where your bullet could potentially land. Didn't matter where the dot was. That's weapon bloom, so this changes that quite a bit. Now, when this is active, you will know that it's active because the aiming reticle will be completely closed in to indicate that the 100% accuracy state is active. This occurs instantly as soon as you aim, target, or ADS, whatever you want to call it. I know they call it targeting in this game, but I used to call it ADS. That's just what I'm used to, aim down sights. This only works when you're not moving again, but if you're tracking a target with your mouse, it will still work, so the accuracy is still there. There's no impact. Just make sure that you're not actually moving, just turning. So from the patch notes, guys, the way that they damage fall off has been adjusted for the weapons with first shot accuracy. The suppressed submachine guns and the tactical submachine guns, the fall off to damage begins at 24 meters. The damage is reduced to 80% of full damage at 35 meters, and then it's reduced to 65% at 50 meters. For pistols and suppressed pistols, the fall off begins at 28 meters. The damage goes down to 85% at 47.5 meters, 75% at 70 meters, and 65% at 250 meters. It's a very weird number. I don't know why they got that. I'm confused. Whatever. For revolvers and hand cannons, the fall off begins at 35 meters. Hits 70% at 60 meters, then all the way down to 40% at 85 meters. And last but not least, the assault and burst assault rifles. The fall off begins at 50 meters, damage is reduced to 80% at 75 meters, and damage is reduced again to 65% at 100 meters. The other thing that they added here too was previously the headshot multiplier was 2.5. Now that they've given you a more accurate first shot, they're reducing that down to 2 times. So keep that in mind. So if your damage is doing 33 and you hit a headshot, you're only going to get 66. I don't remember ever getting a 2.5 times multiplier, but whatever. It is what it is. That's what it is now. So if you're wondering how exactly far is all these different ranges, I went ahead and went into the game and I got some nice pictures for you to show you how far different distances are. Basically what I did was I found an excluded part of the map wherever I could land, get a bunch of material, and then I got lined up on one line of the grid on the mini map, and then I basically just went straight into the one direction and just kept laying a bunch of floors until I reached the other end of the little grid map, square, whatever you want to call it. Then I doubled back, counted all the floors that I put down. So basically I already knew that from other research that I'd done, the standard grid is 250 meters per square. It takes 25 of those little floors to reach all the way across one full square. So that means each floor is 10 meters long. So now from that, I can actually calculate and show exactly how far of distance 100 meters and various distances are. So take a look at this, guys. I'm showing you different distances on the screen here. So you get a visual representation of, you know, how far exactly 50 meters or 100 meters or even 250 is. On your screen, you can see the big wall in the back. That's what I was shooting at. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, hit that thumbs up button because this took me like 3 or 4 tries. I kept getting some random guy showing up and breaking my build, and then it was getting me killed. But I finally got it done. Hopefully, this is going to help you guys so you get some idea in-game of how far apart you are from somebody so you kind of can anticipate these damages. So the next thing that I wanted to ask myself was, hey, you know what? If I have a reduced damage at a distance, how does this affect my ability to shoot somebody, right? If my shots to kill, for example. So what I did was I took the base damage and I compared that against the drop-off damage, and I used that to calculate the shots to kill. So for example, if the damage dropped 50%, then I would calculate the shots to kill for the new reduced damage. And I did this for 4 different health conditions because, as you know, there are shields in this game and the ability to regenerate health to different states. So we want to take all things into consideration. It's not fair just to say one type of situation because it will affect you, you know, in every possible situation. So the 4 conditions that I looked at was full health, no shield. So that's 100 health, 0 shield. The next one would be if you had, you know, full health and full shield. So 100 shield, 100 health. The next one would be if somebody lost their shield but minied up again and didn't have an extra one, so full health and 50 shield. And finally, this is when somebody actually went really low in damage and only had bandages and minis, so they were at 75 health and 50 shields. So from that, guys, I went ahead and calculated the shots to kill that it took for every single weapon in all 4 of those conditions at the base damage rate, the first drop-off rate, and the second drop-off rate. And from there, I was able to compare how much of an increase it was in shots to kill for each of those situations. It's a lot of data. I'm not going to go over all of it specifically with you because I think it was like 76 different calculations I had to do. That's just too many numbers. It's not worth it. But we'll go over some key ones for you guys just so you get a important kind of understanding of how this works. So the most important ones I want to go over are the ARs because these are the ones that are probably most relevant to kind of long-range shooting. Basically, all the ARs went up at least 1 shot to kill after the first drop-off rate, and then it went up to 2 shots extra to kill at the second drop-off rate. So for example, if it took you 4 shots to kill with a white AR at full health, it took you 6 shots to kill at range at the second drop-off rate, which is 100 meters away. So again, recap, if you're using a common AR, the white one, it takes you 4 shots to kill up to 50 meters, 5 shots to kill when they're from 50 to 100, and then 6 shots to kill when they're 100 meters and further out. So again, to recap, for the white AR, that's 4 shots to kill up until 50 meters, and then it drops down to 75. At 75 meters, you get a full 5 shots to kill, and then at a full 100 meters, it takes a full 6 shots to kill. So everything was affected across the board, with the exception of one situation. The blue AR had no change in the shots to kill from the base damage to the first drop-off point, so that's anywhere up until 75 meters with the blue AR will still take 4 shots to kill, and will go up to 5 beyond that. Again, that's the only time that occurred. In every other situation, you're going to have to shoot at least 1 more bullet, potentially 2 depending how far out you're trying to shoot. But if you look at the screen again, 100 meters is a pretty good distance away. So if you can land 1 headshot, that's going to help you significantly because that's going to count as double. But that's the results there, guys, for you. And if we go a little bit further into this, for the remaining weapons, 58 out of the 76 remaining ones all increased by at least 50% in shots to kill at the second damage drop-off point. And the only items not affected are as follows: all rarities of revolvers at the 75 health and 50 shield condition, and essentially all hand cannons at the 100 health and 0 shield condition. That's very, very specific. So essentially think that at the second damage drop-off point for all your other weapons, it's at least a 50% increase in shots to kill. Now that's not going to be as small of a number as it is for ARs because the damage is so low. So for example, suppressed SMGs or regular SMGs, it may take you an extra 6 shots at that damage range in order to get those kills. And unfortunately, the second damage drop-off point for an SMG is actually pretty low. It's pretty quick. It occurs at around just 50 meters. So don't be engaging engaging in really long distance fights with an SMG. Not sure why you'd want to do that anyway, but now last but not least, as you may know, in this situation when you're using the 100% accuracy, after you shoot your first shot, it returns to regular bloom mechanics. Now, if you give yourself some time, it will reset and it'll go back to 100% accuracy, but the question is, how long does it take for it to reset? Now, we have this ability to see those crosshairs closing in on each other. That's how we know that it resets. So what I did was, I went in, I grabbed a pistol, an AR, and an SMG, and I went into a crouching and standing position, and I said, how long does it take to reset this back to 100% accuracy? I went frame by frame just to calculate, and my results are pretty straightforward, guys. It was pretty consistent. So these are my results, guys. It was pretty consistent. There wasn't very much variation at all. I just think I probably did some frame rounding errors there, but basically it's every single time was the same thing. So for ARs, the reset time is 0.3 seconds back to 100% accuracy. For pistols, the reset time was 0.32 seconds back to 100% accuracy, and for SMGs was a very fast 0.20 seconds back to reset for 100% accuracy. That's pretty quick. That's pretty good. Now, some things of note: crouching does not affect the reset time at all, so there's actually no penalty anymore for standing versus crouching when you're tap firing. Up until now, you had to crouch in order to be more accurate. Now, not a problem. Feel free to stand. Just make sure you're not moving and make sure you're tap firing. Also, remember that the reset time is longer than the fire rate for all weapons, and a double tap does extend the reset time, so it appears the longer you hold down fire, the longer the delay in resetting the accuracy. So remember that. It's not going to be the same time to reset if you fire off multiple rounds at once. So if you're tap firing, truly tap fire, just do one at a time. Otherwise, you're going to get a bigger penalty accruing faster and faster. Now, it's not too much of a difference. I think it went from 0.2 to like 0.23 seconds for the SMG when I double tapped it. It's not crazy, but just be careful of that. It's not going to be the universal reset time every time. No matter what, they're still pretty fast. So that's all really good. Finally, guys, it's time for my judgment of the situation, my assessment based on all the testing that I did and what you're seeing in this video right here. I think this is probably not as bad as what we ultimately were originally thinking. I was a little concerned about it at first because I don't like damage drop-offs in this game, especially with how much shield people have, and then with the fact that I'm only really getting accuracy on the first shot, and if I'm not that accurate on my first shot, hey, I'm kind of screwed, right? So I'd rather just have kept the regular original situation with the full damage, infinite range, and just go with bloom and just take my chances. However, the only thing I really saw that was concerning to me was the SMGs at the second damage drop-off point, whatever you want to call it. Everything else really wasn't that big of an impact. The SMGs is the most impacted, and the other problem is that it occurs much closer than the other ones. If you look at the pistols and the revolvers and the ARs, the second damage drop-off point is pretty good far ways away to where even if you're missing your shots, unless the guy's shooting at you with a sniper, it's the only time he's going to have an advantage on you, so you're not really in too much danger there. But what I've noticed is they always tend to make some balance mistakes, and so they'll go back and fix it. SMGs have a history of bad balancing, so they were buffed in the past. I think they might buff this for now. You know, personally, is it really that bad? Should you be trying to take someone down with an SMG from long distance? But even if it's not that practical, I would guess the developer will look at the SMGs for a possible buff again in the near future, as they've had a trouble pass to begin with. An extension on their drop-off points would put them more in family with some of these other weapons. I wouldn't recommend more than maybe like a 10-meter buff to that. You probably saw it on the screen here how far 50 meters is. Again, just as a frame of reference, it's not that far. Like, it potentially, you might be a distance you might want to engage somebody with an SMG, especially early round where you don't have maybe another weapon. So if you're first drop, you pick up an SMG, the other guy's got an AR, you get first shot on him, he can still turn around and beam you from that distance, and not really much you can do about it. So that one I think could use a buff. But again, know your limitations of your weapons that you have. Play accordingly, right? So ultimately what it comes down to is now you're going to gain full accuracy for damage exchange. That 50% increase in shots to kill is essentially the same as a 60 to 70% accuracy under the bloom mechanic. The way I figured that was, if it took me 3 extra shots, now I'm thinking I can knock somebody at 6 out of 9 shots, for example. That's a 66% accuracy under the original mechanic. Most of the time, I'm not getting that kind of accuracy under bloom. I think I'm averaging around 20% accuracy under bloom when I check my stats. 20 to 30% would be really good. So this is an improvement. If you're hitting your shots and you're tap firing and you're taking your turn, you're taking your shots wisely, you can be a lot more accurate under this system. So it's probably more of a fair situation now. You just have to consciously pick your shots rather than just shooting and hoping that the bloom gods are on your side. Now, ultimately, it remains to see how this new mechanic will affect the meta. Initial reactions, like I said, have been negative at worst, indifferent at best. Our testing shows that it may be balanced, but for now, guys, the jury is out. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Again, my name is Argon. Thank you to Tabor for letting me guest spot on here. Please make sure you check out my channel. It's in the description of this video. It would really mean a lot to me if you could go over and sub up to me. I do make this kind of content regularly. I was going to upload this to my own channel, but Tabor said since he's out of town, he wouldn't mind me kind of filling in for him, and I'm more than happy to. So again, guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button to Tabor and myself. And if you're not following us on social media, make sure you check those links out in the description below. And as always, guys, my name is Argon, and may you never die to a bush. Peace.